they were never done if he was president, obvious. And then he's got to back down, and he will back down, Xi and this out-of-control Chinese Communist Party around Taiwan, right? But then it's the economy. And remember, Biden and those guys haven't seen any spending bill they didn't love. And I'm talking trillions of dollars of side pocket deals and this deal. But when when President Trump is president, and those tax cuts that have helped you so much in business, when they revert back, all of a sudden these guys, oh my God, you can't have a tax cut. It's gonna be so important for the House Freedom Caucus to work with the president, to work with, I hope, the new either Deputy Secretary of Treasury, the head of OMB again, Russ Vought, and the team over there to say, we're going to have some pay for it. We're not going to have these budgets are so out of control. We need to have some logical cuts in the budgets to make sure that we're offsetting at least part of the tax cuts, so the tax cuts can get back to what they were doing under President Trump's term. So how are we going to do that?
Right. Steve's obviously right. We got to have growth again. We got to go back to the pro-growth Trump policies. The pillars of the Trump economic growth was low taxes, low regulation. He cut 7 or 8 regulations for every new one regulation, and Biden has went the exact opposite way. You're paying about $8,000 a year in hidden taxes and higher regulations. Everything costs more because of this White House. So it's low taxes, low regulations, cheap, plentiful energy as we're on our way to become an energy dominant.
Full spectrum energy dominance, right?
And fair trade. Pro-America growth policies that are important for the economy, because we got to grow our way out of this deficit in addition to cutting the wasteful spending.
And President Trump in the fair trade, he's going to use the tariffs as a bludgeon, right? He's going to bludgeon these other nations. I believe what you're going to see under President Trump is a whole restructuring of the economic order with something that's not the madness that we had with this post-war international rules-based order, where they gamed the system, the elites gamed the systems for their own benefit, the party of Davos, and gutted the middle class here, and gutted the working class here of all the great high value-added manufacturing jobs. Trump's going to reverse that, right? He's going to reverse that. And that's why we're going to need smart, tough people here to help with the budget. Okay, we have one of the smartest.
Speaking of smart,
he's a theologian. How many PhDs do you have? Dave Brat
probably needs 2 hands.
Is a theologian. He's a doctor of economics, one of the most brilliant guys I know, a great guy, and one of the original guys. Come over here. I just want you to tell them the story. You're no longer on the short list of being an honorary co-host. You're like one of my ex-wives, so easily persuadable. They were all great. They were great girls. This was the problem. Trust me, they were great. I just before we got time. So here's how I met Brat. Eric Cantor was the congressman down there. Our family, because we knew the Blolly family, the Blolly's funeral home, and Eric was the driver, the body man for Congressman Blolly, and they were from our neighborhood. Everybody knew the Cantors, and Eric was, as a kid, was a great guy. It's a perfect example of a great young man that goes to D.C. and gets controlled. All of a sudden, the apparatus gets there, and they're saying, you're going to do this and do that, and the swamp takes over. So Ron Maxwell, this is in the Tea Party years, Ron Maxwell says, we got to take out Cantor. And I said, brother, there's never been a sitting majority leader in the history of the Republic that's ever been taken out, ever. He goes, no, I think we can do a Tea Party. So he calls me and says, I got the guy. I go, okay, tell me about it. And he goes, he's fantastic, he's amazing. I said, what's his job? He says, professor. I said, I'm hanging up. He goes, no. He's an economics professor. I said, okay, I'm gonna slam down the phone. He goes, no. He's at a great school and everybody loves it. And I go, what? He's Randolph-Macon. So, Randolph-Macon, not bad. I said, hey, you gotta take. So he came up and saw me, and I said, I said, we can work with this. This is good. This is a good guy. And so we had Laura Ingram's radio show. Yeah. We had Julia Hahn, who was she was the Natalie Winters of her day. She was 19 years old at the University of Chicago, was a producer for Laura Ingram. We had Breitbart Radio, which was only on Sunday nights. And this guy was literally a co-host for 6 months. And I remember the day that he won, the Fox guys are calling us up and saying, who's this guy, Brit? By the way, in a blowout win, that's how he took over. And from the day he took over, he was the #1 target to get rid of, right? Because you wouldn't play ball, just like Bob Good and just like the Freedom Caucus.
All right, you got to pry that microphone out of Bannon's hands, man. Give Steve a round of applause for making it hold on here. Not good. Steve Bannon never gets a shout out. He's got all that Catholic guilt bundled up in him. He doesn't like being applauded, but today we applaud him. These are the half the Dave Brat brigades out here too from the 7th Baptist. Great to be out here supporting my good friend Bob Good. I just got one question for you, and it's got 3 sub-points because it's a good lecture, right? It's a Presbyterian sermon, it's got 3 points. The question is, why in the world would you ever want to replace a congressman who's getting an A+ across the board on everything, right? That's the question, and I haven't heard even a partial answer to that question, right? So what did President Trump set up years ago, right? He had it in his head way back, if you go back and look at him. But there's 3 points that Bannon covers on the War Room every single day, over and over and over. And Bob Good and the Freedom Caucus are the only people that fight on these 3 issues. And what are they? One is the $7 trillion budget that just funded the CIA and the FBI and the woke military and all of it, right? And the Freedom Caucus is fighting hard, getting personal about it because it will ruin the country. For real, it's ruining the country. And so Bob Good has made commitments. I haven't heard crickets from anybody else running for this seat on that issue. Number 2, President Trump, 4 years ago, how many endless wars were we in back in 4 years ago?
0.
0. Now, again, under the Einsteins up there in the swamp, we're engaged in 4 wars all over the world, trillions of dollars. As Steve says, if you park those 10 trillions of dollars for the wars in our inner cities, what would this country look like? Right? If you could turn this country around, regenerate growth like Bob's talking about. And Bob, once again, A+, stands up, and no money to Ukraine until we shut our border. Issue number 3, right? Issue number 3, probably President Trump's signature issue. I ran on it. We clobbered Canner on that issue, right? And it's the border invasion. Back then it was bad enough, right? It was 1 million. Now it's 14 million. Total of 30 million, etc. And this is why the Freedom Caucus, we keep bringing it up, but can you think of anyone outside of the Freedom Caucus that's fighting on these 3 issues? Right? These are President Trump's signature issues.